Warning, the views and opinions expressed in this presentation are those of the producer and those appearing in the show and do not necessarily represent the views of DerryCam, the Town of Derry, or any of its staff or affiliates. Hi, I'm Anthony Henry. Welcome back to America's Ass. We've been gone for a while. We haven't been here since March. I took a break, get some driver's ed done. I got my license. Took a bit to enjoy the summer, some time off. But the downside was that we missed a ton of stuff. The world kept moving. We had, an assassination attempt on a former president. We had a presidential coup against Mr. Biden. A lot of stuff's happened. Politics never stops. And yeah, we're here, and I'm happy to be here. And today we have a candidate for Congress in Congressional District 1 for New Hampshire, Alderman Joe Kelly Levasseur. So take a minute to introduce yourself to anyone who doesn't know you.
Well, my name is Joseph Kelly Levasseur, and I'm not sure which camera I'm looking at. So that one? It's not red, that's why.
Straight ahead.
Okay, so straight ahead. All right. Well, my name is Joseph Kelly Levasseur. Thank you for having me on, Henry. I've met you a few times. Very impressed with your skills and your knowledge and your hard work on the parts of Republican Party, Republican issues. I am a congressional candidate for CD District 1, which covers Derry, and I'm very happy to be here. Myself, I've been a television host since 1999. I'm going on my 25th year, so this whole studio is a lot different than the one I'm in, and I'm really glad to be here. It looks like you got a great staff. So, as far as me, I am currently an alderman in the city of Manchester. I've been involved in politics since 1999, a quarter of a century. I got in 1999 when Manchester was building a civic center. I owned a restaurant in downtown Manchester called Joe Kelly's. I'd been in that business for almost 15 years, and Manchester was really going into a down cycle, and things were really bad. One day I was looking out my window, and a tumbleweed blew down Elm Street. That's how bad things had gotten. We were at a 70% vacancy rate for downtown, and about a 90% vacancy rate in our mills. So then Mayor Levasseur thought we could turn the city around by building a civic center in downtown Manchester. And since I was a local business owner, I got involved in that matter. Obviously, I was pro-civic center for the downtown issues. We had a lot of crime. It wasn't safe to walk down there. It wasn't a clean area. And I thought that would definitely buoy the city. And so he asked me to run. And I said, no, there's no way I can run a restaurant and also be in law school at the same exact time. And I said, well, let me know in a couple weeks. Go out and try to find somebody that's pro-civic center and let me know. Well, sure enough, the last day, 15 minutes before the last chance you could sign up, Ray Levasseur, the mayor of Manchester, an old Polish guy who used to lift 50-pound bags of potatoes for a living, came in, put me in a headlock, dragged me into City Hall, and made me sign up. And I've been in the arena now for a quarter of a century. So after winning that first race, I got out of politics. I was in it. I was a city chairman for a while. I ran for state senate against Lou D'Alessandro. And then in 2012, I ran for alderman again. And this time I ran for alderman at large, which covers all 12 wards. So I topped the ticket, and I've been an alderman at large for the city of Manchester now for 7 straight terms in one of the bluest cities in our district. And I believe the reason why I get elected as a Republican is because I'm a straight shooter. I tell people why I vote the way I did and the reasons why they should agree with me. Of course, my TV show has always helped because I've been able to tell people what's going on behind the scenes. Democrats don't like it, but I've been able to fight for a tax cap, fight to keep our taxes low, fight for a good city, help our police. We went through a rough time, of course, when BLM came through the city. We went through a rough time with we have a serious drug overdose issue. We have a lot of homeless people in Manchester. And a lot of that stuff really took hold because of Joyce Craig, who was the Democrat mayor at the time, 3 terms. And because of her really bad leadership, really bad policies, the city of Manchester finally had enough and threw out a bunch of Democrats. So for the first time since 1998, we have a Republican board, and we have our first Republican chairman, and that's me. So that's kind of where I am today. And the reason why I got involved in the congressional race is because it's a very sleepy congressional race. I didn't really hear much about it, and I didn't really hear much about the people that were running being on board with Trump as much as I am on board with Trump. Uh, I have signs. In Derry have probably seen them. Joseph Kelly Levasseur, and they say Trump or bust. Trump or bust is not a slogan. Trump or bust is a fact. If we don't get Trump in the presidency and we don't get a hold of the White House, we're just going to go through 4 more years of the nonsense that we've already gone through under Biden. And the country can't tolerate another 4 years of this inflation, on the brink of World War III, energy crisis, energy prices going through the roof, and just the decay of our country in so many ways. So I want to get down to Washington. I want to be an ally for Trump. I want to be an ally for him, for America First policies, build the wall, get our country back in shape, get inflation under control, get the Middle East settled like it was under President Trump in the first place, and just be a strong ally for him. So that's why I got in the race, and it's been fun. I've met some really good people. I've met the other candidates. I think they're all qualified, and any one of them would be better than the invisible congressman we have right now. Chris Pappas, I think he's been in there 3 terms. I haven't seen him in the last 4. I think he enjoys Washington, D.C. more than he does his own district, because really I haven't seen him anywhere, and his votes have been nothing but far left, Biden support. Whatever they want, he goes along with them no matter what. So,
Well, thank you for running. I do agree we need to get him out of there. He's been in there 3 terms too long, I
yes.
think. And it's a race that I think should be honestly followed nationally. It's a swing district as long as we run the right candidate. So what do you think sets you apart from the other candidates to take him on?
Well, I have a reputation that I've earned over 25 years of taking on very, very tough issues, not backing down from Democrats. As a matter of fact, last night there was a coup attempt on me by the Democrats at the aldermanic meeting to take my chairmanship away. It all was based on the fact that a man in Manchester has been posting a lot of vile stuff over the last decade or so. And about 5 minutes after President Trump, well, not President Trump, former President Trump, the candidate for president, Donald Trump was on the stage, and someone took a bunch of shots at him, and he got luckily not assassinated, but grazed in the ear. They threw him down on the ground. This particular individual posted something along the lines of, thank goodness Joe Biden was the one that got to pick the security detail for the orange Cheeto. And so I posted that on my Facebook page and said that people who know this man may want to let his employer know that this is the way he acts and thinks. Along the lines, I think I saw maybe a couple hundred people who had posted things like that, like, oh, 2 more inches to the right or 2 more inches to the left, or why did the guy miss? Why didn't he take more shooting practice? A lot of that stuff went on, of course, social media, and a lot of those people lost their jobs. This individual, once they found out who he was and where he worked, my understanding was a lot of calls were made to his employer, and his employer terminated his employment. Last night, the aldermen, 7 aldermen, decided that since I made that post and I might be responsible for this man losing his job, that I should no longer be the chairman. So it has nothing to do with me being chairman and doing my duties as the chairman of the board for the city of Manchester. It was more like, we just don't want him to be the chairman anymore. They're really, really upset that I'm the chairman of the board, and that we are actually putting policies in place that are helping the city with our homeless issues. A lot of the things that Joyce Craig, who's running for governor, refused to do by enabling these homeless people and these drug addicts to basically take over our whole downtown and all our parks, we've tried to put an end to it, and we're working very hard to put an end to it. So we're making her look really bad, but we're just doing the job that we know needs to be done. It's not being done to intentionally go after Democrats. As a matter of fact, now that the Democrats don't have Joyce Craig as mayor, they've come along with us on a lot of these issues, which has been great. So we've had a very strong bipartisan board, but they look for an opportunity to take away my chairmanship. They know I'm running for Congress. They know I'm going around the district talking about Joyce Craig and the fact that she was so bad at her job that we turned the city of Manchester red. And I tell people, if you don't think we're going to be red and there's going to be a red wave in November, look at Manchester. if Manchester can go red, then you know how people are thinking. We got a lot of independents that came over to our side, and a lot of Democrats said we are tired of Democrat policies, tired of enablement, tired of, welcoming the, we had what was known as a safe station. So we have 10 fire departments. So anybody could come in, knock on the door at a fire department at any time of the morning or night or day if they were coming off their drugs, and get them to take them to somewhere where they could go get, to get them off what they were on, or to ease the pain that they were going through. But we were advertising around the state of New Hampshire. So you know what happens when you advertise it and you give away free stuff. Well, if you build it, they will come. And boy, did they come. And they came in big numbers. So we were really, really, really inundated with a lot of homeless stuff. We have a homeless shelter. We have hospitals. Drugs are available in a big city like that. And then the city, under Joyce Craig, we actually opened another shelter that is actually run by the city. And so we're just welcoming more and more of these people in here. And it's just been, that safe station was a bad issue. I fought against it. It was a bad idea. I fought against it. And they never forgave me for that. But finally we got it out, and it, stopped a lot of people. But last night we were discussing free needles. We keep giving away free needles to drug addicts. Yeah. And do you think that's going to stop the problem? No, it's not. It hasn't stemmed it at all. So, the Democrats are trying to do what they can to embarrass me as a candidate. They don't like the fact that I've been extremely strong, and I don't back down, and I'm not a wishy-washy, my knees don't buckle when times get tough. And, they're coming at me the way they do. So I feel like that's what's needed in Washington, D.C. We see too many Republicans just vote against our own policies. They vote against ideas that we put in place that we think are good for our country. They go and they side with the Democrats, and it's not helping us. We need strong Republicans that are not going to back down and that are going to support an America First agenda. We can't have people that are going to go down there and say we need to lower energy, but vote against opening up the pipeline, right? The Keystone Pipeline. You want to talk about immigration? I think Republicans are really, really good on immigration, legal immigration. You can't have, these wishy-washy Republicans saying, sure, they can just come across the border the way they have been unvetted. We've had over 10 million come into the country. If you don't think that's why your food prices have gone up, or why there's a housing crisis, or you can't find an apartment, where do you think 10 million people are moving into and living? It's estimated New Hampshire has 15,000 illegal migrants that have come in over the last 3.5 years. What do you think they're living? They're taking up apartments. They're taking up resources. We have to educate them. They come in through our schools. We need more teachers. We need more ESL for them. This is a big, big problem. Obviously, the biggest issue, of course, is we're letting in a lot of gang members, and they're committing a lot of crime, and they're making the country unsafe, and they're making people feel unsafe, even in their sleepy little towns where they live in New Hampshire or wherever they are in the country. They feel threatened because they don't know where these people are and who they are. So we have a lot of issues that we have to deal with. I think that if I get down to Washington, Trump will have have an ally. I will support him on his America First agenda, and I will do what I think is right for, of course, my first loyalty is to our congressional district in the state of New Hampshire. I'm a big believer in trying to get more affordable housing into the state, and the invisible Congressman Pappas has done nothing about it. He's been down there for 4 years. He has done nothing to help us with our low income affordable housing for seniors and veterans. And I just think our energy costs in this state are aberrant. I mean, if you own a house, I owned a restaurant. I owned a restaurant I was in the restaurant business for 35 years. And when I left, my utilities were about $20,000 a year. Now, I still own the property, so I spoke with the restaurant owner. 5 years later, his utility costs are now $50,000 a year. So just in a matter of 5 years, they've more than doubled. And it's really ridiculous how expensive it is to do business in this state because of energy. And it all starts with an energy policy in D.C. and then some more creative solutions here in this state. And I will fight really, really hard for that. I will whatever committees I have to get into, whatever congressman's ears I have to get in, talk to, the president himself, I will make energy and low affordable housing my two major priorities for this district.
And those are big priorities in some ways on both sides. I've heard a lot of Democrats saying that housing and energy are huge priorities too, because no one can afford them.
Well, New Hampshire's in one of those, like the whole Northeast is in a really strange place, right? So where it's hot as heck in the summertime, and then you get the AC on, right? And you might get a break in September, but then October comes and you're already turning on the heat. Nobody wants to turn on their heat till November, right? And then October 15th comes along and you're 50 degrees and it's cold, and if you don't turn the heat on, next thing you know, you're getting sick. So we don't really get a break, like from having to cool down the house or to heat the house up. So we're in that really strange place. I always found it weird that the population in this state always stays around 1.2. And it's been like that since I was in my 20s. It's not 1.4, 1.6. You see growth all over the country, right? Florida has boomed, but New Hampshire doesn't. And I think it's a lot has to do with the cost of energy and the cost of housing. Obviously now, it's very hard to afford the heat. I mean, heating costs. I mean, I just locked in my oil. It was $3.49. That's a lot of money for a gallon of oil. When Trump was in office, we were paying $2. That's palatable. Gas was $2. Right now, it's $3.50 a gallon. That just eats away at all your money. And then you look at what inflation is. Now, I've been a restaurant owner since I was 25 years old, and I can tell you, 5 years ago when I left, imported ham was $2.99 a pound. Now I go to the grocery store, it's $6.99 a pound. $4 more a pound, and you're buying less, and bread and mayonnaise and pickles and tomatoes and everything is just way ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how people afford to go to grocery stores. I go in there, I get sticker shock, and luckily my wife, she went out and got a job. She was a stay-at-home mom till my boys were about 10, 11 years of age. So it's nice to have her in there, but it's not even a matter of nice. It's a necessity to have both of us working now.
Yeah.
It was great. We had the boys were there, the mom was there. Our mom, she was fantastic. They did great in school, and everything went off like clockwork. But now both of us have to work to pay our bills, and it's a struggle.
And a lot of people have that struggle. And one thing I wanted to really talk about with you was last year specifically, because that was when Manchester had that big movement to get all those people out of office. And Derry had something similar with our school board. You've probably seen me post about it extensively, but our school board has made a lot of controversial decisions over the past year or two. It ended with two of them deciding not to run again this year, and then their budget got shot down by the voters. They lost all their warrant articles, and we're about to flip that school board for the first time in a long time, and that's what happened in Manchester. And a lot of hard work was put in by you. And
so in Derry, you get to vote on whether or not they get an increase. It's not left to a board
for the school district, not the town council. The
Okay.
school, we get the final say on the school district.
If
budget.
Manchester had that, we would be in such better shape. As a matter of fact, on the way out, after Craig's hand-picked candidate, Mr. Kavanaugh, lost to Jay Rouet, and we ended up with 7 aldermen, they jammed a $300 million bond down our throats in those last 8 weeks before the new mayor took office on January 4th. So, and they also jammed a massive, I think it was about $26 million 3-year contract for for the school employees. So our people don't get that opportunity to go to the ballot and vote against that stuff. It's actually voted on. Now our school board is you think you're in California if you were actually watching them. They are so far left, and spending is not an issue for them because they're not responsible for the taxes. That falls upon the aldermen. The aldermen approved their budget. Well, they had 11 Democrats back in last November and December, and so they approved their budget. They approved the teachers' contract, and then they approved the $300 million bond. And when the interest is all done being paid, it's going to be about $550 million. And what's interesting is we're expanding our schools. we're renovating our schools while we're losing students. We started in 2000, I believe we had about 17,800 kids. We're down to about 12,500 kids now. They're expanding out schools. They're building more buildings while our population goes down because people want, now that there's more school choice available to them, people are taking the opportunity and going to more parochial schools and charter schools. Those have really done well. So the spending keeps going up, the student ratio goes down, the teachers do not lose jobs, they don't ever fire anybody. So we're not saving any money on that faction. So we're looking, when we got this board finally, we cut their budget request was $5.5 million. We ended up only giving them $1 million of that because we had the votes on this board and because we had a Republican board. So, I mean, they just got another $35 million from the state thrown on top of what they were already getting. They're at about $239 million in Manchester.
Derry's full school district budget is just over $100 million right now.
Right.
What happened last year was really interesting. I was following it because it was kind of similar to what was going on here in Derry. Just so many people were, they lost in the end, but the campaigns were really fun just to watch because there was such excitement. And the meetings, the alderman meetings, I watched almost all of them that spring, that summer, that fall. They were very colorful, primarily because of you. You definitely were not afraid to speak out. And, the Democrats got their they got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch.
Well, anybody who puts their name on the ballot, I have a lot of respect for people who put themselves into this arena. It's a really, really rough and tough place. Manchester, I think, is like probably, the WWE of politics, especially in the state. But anybody who puts their name on the ballot and goes in and fights for taxpayers, you get crushed, right? The unions are strong. The teachers' unions are strong. There's people who want things. They don't realize the cost and the just continuing cost year over year over year over year. And then finally 10 years go by and you're looking at how the hell did we get to this place? Because the incremental increases they really do pile on. So anybody who gets into this arena and puts their name on a ballot and wins, even if you don't win, just putting your name on the ballot and getting involved in politics, it's a big, big deal for people to get out there and do it. And I really appreciate them. Even if they're, we don't agree on policies or stuff, to be putting yourself in the middle of this arena is very difficult because once you put your name on the ballot, they basically can write anything they want about you. Once you win, I mean, your life becomes, they can just wail on you. And, the First Amendment really doesn't help people who are elected officials because the level that we have to prove of malice and recklessness, et cetera, in order to fight back is very difficult. Trump said we should fix our First Amendment laws and everybody get down his throat. But if you see the vitriol and the anger and the nonsense that's going on social media now, it's gotten to the point where it's actually getting scary. We actually had to have in Manchester, we have actually now going through a process where we're making sure that our City Hall is much safer for elected officials. We've been under the guns, metaphorically speaking, with a lot of people coming to City Hall and really, really giving us a hard time.
I've heard about
very, very, very violent speech and targeted speech, and a lot of the Palestinian-Israeli stuff is boiled over, and for some reason they think that our board has some sort of power or authority over telling Israel what to do, which we don't.
Interestingly enough, our town council at our last meeting just had that for the first time. They were fairly quiet. There was a group of maybe 8 or 10 of them. Only 3 of them spoke. But they're here in Derry now. They just got here. I expected them to come long ago, but they are here
they're
now.
Trying to make us take a vote on telling Israel to cease fire. I can't tell my wife what color shirt to wear. I'm going to tell Israel, what they can do to defend their own selves and their own sovereignty. I mean, we're a town in Manchester.
Yeah, exactly.
And they relentlessly, they don't stop. They've been coming since January. Last night was the first time I think we got our first break. Maybe you guys are getting them now, but we just made a motion that we're not going to make a motion because it's not germane to Manchester city business, and that really inflamed them even more. So it's been a little bit rough. We expect it's going to get a little bit tough from now until November as the as the rhetoric heats up and the battles between the two parties for presidency and Congress get going, it's going to be a wild time. So
Yeah, at that same meeting, that town council meeting, one of our state representatives, Richard Tripp, went up and spoke after they were done, and he basically said that if they want to get the result they're looking for, they should travel to the Middle East and talk to everyone themselves and not waste their time at a town council meeting halfway across the world.
yeah, good luck with them going there.
Yeah, but
Yeah, good luck with that whole idea.
all right, well, we got a couple minutes left, so I've had a great time with this interview. Thank you for coming on. Feel free to give any closing statement you'd like to give.
Well, again, my name is Joseph Kelly Levasseur. I'm very easy to reach. It's just simply LevasseurForCongress.com if you want to check me out on my website. My phone number is 603-622-7575. Again, 603-622-7575. And it rings to my cell phone, and I answer my own phone. I don't have any secretaries or campaign managers. I'm on my own with my 14-year-old son and my family, working hard throughout the district, going to a lot of events, meeting a lot of people, and enjoying myself as I get to tell the story about Manchester's success and the fact that we've been able to turn our city red for the first time since 1998. And I believe it's a hopeful message for what's going to happen in November, and that we'll be able to finally get the invisible congressman that's currently there out of that seat and put a Republican in there to go down to Washington, work on the issues that are important to our state and our district, and be a good, strong ally for Trump. Again, if you see my signs that say Trump or bust, it's not a campaign slogan. It's actually a fact. Without Trump in there, we're really just going to be wasting our time for the next 4 years. So I hope you're considering him for president, and I hope you're considering Republicans as you go through. I don't know who's going to come out of the primaries for governor, but whoever does is going to be a hell of a lot better than Joyce Craig. You can trust me on that. I've worked with her for 10 years. I've seen her as mayor for 6. You don't let her Manchester up Derry, okay? You don't want Derry to be what Manchester turned into under her failed leadership. And I think that message needs to be expounded throughout the state of New Hampshire. What's funny is she actually did a commercial talking about all the great things she did in Manchester, but she showed Portsmouth.
I've seen that one.
She showed Portsmouth, and she showed their town hall and the houses in Portsmouth. She didn't even actually want to show anything in the city she's born and raised in, which I found really amazing. But a lot of sleight of hand. Now, just like I want to tell you, I was a restaurant owner for 25 years, and I wasn't the kind of restaurant owner that greeted people and sat with people at the bar. I worked my tail off in the restaurant. I cooked, I prepped, I cleaned, I managed. I did it all from the age of 25 for 35 years. And in that span of time, I went to school. I got my bachelor's at 31. I got my master's at 36. And I went back and went to law school. I got my law degree at 39. I've been a practicing attorney for 24 years. I've been involved in the political arena now for 25 years, and I am a 7 straight term alderman at large. So I've got a lot of experience in the real world, the political world, to be able to represent you well, all of you in Derry. So I hope I get your support, and thank you very much for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alderman, for coming on. It's definitely been an interesting few months. The campaigns have been very, very insightful. I'm looking forward to a successful primary and a successful election. I think we're going to do it.
Great.
All right. I'm Anthony Henry. This has been America's Ass. Thank you for watching.